Hey everyone, so this is going to guide you through creating a copy this to that system for texture customization. Now, the texture customization scenes do come with pre-made ones, but in case you want to make your own, this is how you go about doing it. And you can use other people's substances in the same way as well, although they do need to have the same names in the different sections. So I've got my demon character here, and there's 3 different heads and 3 different bodies, and so I want to be able to change just one body and copy it over all the heads. So I'm going to create a new empty object here. I'm going to call this copy this to that, and we're going to call this body A to bodies and heads. And I've already looked at the body, and there's 2 sections in the substance here that I want to copy, and that's skin and tough skin. Just for the fun of it, I'm also going to do the horns too, and make the horns match the tough skin. So we'll change this bodies, bodies, heads, and horns. Alright, so I'm going to add my component here. It's going to be the copy this to that, SFB, copy this to that. Under my options, I am going to include the main. I'm also going to include environment. I'm not going to parse the environment out, and I'm going to save my changes. If I keep that unclicked, it will be faster, but if I quit Unity, then my changes will not be stored. And I might want to store my changes just in case I'm not done. So I'm going to keep the save changes checked. First thing is to add a source, and so this is going to be my body A. Just put that right there and click the add source. And now I can add my targets. Alright, and now I'm going to go through and just delete the sections that I don't want here. So I am going to copy the skin, tough skin, and claws to B and C. For the head, I do not need to do the eyes, teeth, or the mouth. I'm not going to do that for any of the heads. Let's see. Oh, and head C here has a special mask there. So, and these horns. And so, let's see. Again, I'm going to start by getting rid of the teeth and mouth. He's got no eyes. He's got the mask instead. And I'm going to go through and make sure I've got this. So skin, tough skin, going to skin, tough skin. Most of these will pre-populate if the names are the same. But then mask and horns aren't the same here. So I'm going to do tough skin for the horns. Or do I want to do claws for those? These are these horns right here. I'm going to do claws for those. And then for the mask, I'm going to do tough skin. And then for the horns here, I'm going to copy tough skin to all 3 of these. I'm going to leave the main and the environment on for all of them as well. Alright, so now I just need to go back into my body A here, click enable texture modification, turn that on, and then I'm going to adjust them. One thing that won't be copied over is this emissive hue, so that's something that you'd have to change manually if you want to change it manually. In this case I will. I'll just change it to 0.293. I'll just copy that with my keyboard. Alright, so now that I've changed those, oh, and if I want to change the claw a little bit, there we go. So I'll just add a little tiny tint of blue to that. Alright, so I'm ready to go. I could do that to all the other sections, but I don't want to. And so I'm going to use copy this to that. Alright, so now at the bottom here, I'm just going to click copy all actions. This will take a little while for Unity to copy them, but we should see the updates right here as they come. Alright, so this happened now. I just want to change the emissive hue here, so I'm just going to copy that into these sections. Alright, so now my horns and my head are all emitting the right color. I'm going to also now work on the eyes here, and the mouth, and the teeth. So I'm going to use a separate copy of this to that object because I'm going to start with a head A. So I'm going to just create a new object again. Copy this to that. I'm going to head A to heads, just to heads. So again, add that component. The options will be set the way I want it. You can adjust those, and actually in this one I will, because main is already set, and so I'm going to ignore that, and we're going to unclick environments as well. So we'll go to our head A here and add that as our source. We're going to get rid of skin and tough skin, and we're not going to adjust the mask or the horns, so just the eyes, teeth, and mouth. That way I can go into head A here, and we've got the eyes, and I want to make those something different. And copy all actions. Alright, just check it out, make sure they look good. I think they do. Ooh, this guy looks creepy. Look at that, that's insane. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got those guys there. Now the armor we don't need a copy this to that object for because it's only one material, so we can just adjust that. If you did want to, however, I guess this is an opportunity for copy this to that, isn't it? Because we've got all these different sections, and maybe we want them to all have the same adjustments to it. So let's create one new copy this to that object. I'm just going to call it armor to armor, because in this one we're going to have our armor as our source and armor as our target as well. For options, we're going to not do main, and we're not going to do the environment as well. And because of that, let's rebuild the action list. That got rid of the environment in main. So we're going to just work on the chest here. So we don't need to copy that. I'm going to update all groups to chest, and we'll go from there, because pretty much all of these, except for a few, are going to be the chest. So let's see, tassets and straps and bolts. So I'm going to delete bolts. I'll do that separately, and delete tassets, and straps will get whatever tassets has. So really, I just need to modify the chest, the bolts, and the tassets. Alright, so let's go through those ones here. First, we'll turn off texture modification. For the chest, let me see what we can do here. Alright, so I'm going to shift the roughness to make it shinier. And then I'm going to go down to my, what did I say, the tassets here. It's down here. Alright, and then the bolts. Figured bolts should be done separate because ultimately they can be a different metal than the rest. Okay, so I did those three, and go back to armor. And as long as I don't want to modify the other ones in a different color scheme, which I might want to do especially with these side armors here, and copy those actions, and I'll just copy from this chest, the bolts, and the tasset to the straps and all the other armor pieces. There we go, so now we've got a brand new armor look as well. And if I want to at this point, I can do fine-tuning of the look. I would only suggest doing this after the copy this to that, because if you change something and use copy this to that, it'll overwrite your changes. So my chest sides right here, if I wanted to, I could maybe make these lighter than the rest. See what that does. And we could do the same for the greaves at the bottom, but I think I'm going to leave those as they are. So now we have a completely textured set, and if I wanted to undo all that, I could just do the copy this to that, and I'll do the copy this to that again. Alright, so the next video I'm going to make will be for the mass exporter.